Hey, what's up everybody? Today's April 22nd. We're out in our bee yards today. What we're doing is just spot checking, checking for any swarm cells or any sign or indication that the colony is going to swarm, and adding space via honey super. So that's what we're doing today. Just wanted to bring you along. Okay guys, on this colony, it's one of the ones that we split for it because we found swarm cells or supersedure cells. They were really all over the place, so it's hard to tell. As you can see, this honey super is full already. The bees are drawing it out. We've got 10 frames in it, so we're going to be real careful. The queen could be up in here laying. We'll show you how we deal with that later on. But as you can see, they're storing nectar, heavily storing nectar and pollen in this super. This is going to be a brood box, and we're going to start running a deep and a medium. So that tells me this super, or this box, this colony needs another super immediately. We did split it to avert the swarm instinct, if that's what it was, or if it was a supersedure issue. Now this frame's drawn out, but they're not really working on it real well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move it over one, being real careful because the queen could be in here. And I'm going to drop it right here. And then I'm going to put all the frames back together. And I'm going to give them another box. And with this box, it's undrawn foundation. So I'm going to take one of these that they've already worked on and started storing nectar and pollen in. And I'm going to put it up top. And I'm going to use it as a bait frame to entice them to work into the other box. That's all nectar. Hold that one. I'm going to move this one back over so they'll be more readily or more apt to start on this one sooner. They like to have comb. They don't like to have foundation stored or in between the drone combs. So they'll start drawing that out pretty readily. And I'm going to take this box here. I'm simply going to add it on top. One thing to keep in mind, guys, always make sure your bees have more space. It doesn't matter how good the flow is or how strong the colony is. If they don't have a place to store it, they can't make you any honey. Recenter my frames so that I get them drawn out evenly and neatly. This is the split we made, so we're going to put the double screen board back on top of here and set this on top, and we're done with this colony. There's a tick. Also be aware that, you know, when you're out here, check yourself for ticks whenever you're done. Okay guys, on this colony it went, she had turned into a drone layer, so we requeened it with a cell, and there's our virgin queen running around right there. I'm not going to be in here long. I just wanted to check, make sure that the cell hatched or emerged, and it did. She's wandering around. She looks healthy, so we're going to close it up. And we still got food on them because their foraging force is real small because she was laying drones. So the best course of action for that is put some dry sugar because we still got some cold nights ahead. So we're going to keep the dry sugar on them. There is a nectar flow on, but they don't have enough field force to capitalize on the nectar. Okay guys, on this colony, if you can look down in here and see, it's mostly drawn out, and they're storing nectar in it pretty heavily. So what we're going to do is we're going to put another super on here and we're going to bait it again. Now keep in mind, this is drone comb. We started with drone comb, and this is all foundation that they've already drawn out. So I'm happy with that. We're going to put this box on. We're going to bait it up with this. We're going to drop another frame of foundation in here. And anytime you're drawing comb, you want to draw it with 10 frames instead of 9. I know a lot of people run 9 frames. Go ahead and set that on there. Try not to squish the bees. I know a lot of people like to run 9 frames, and we do too, but when you're drawing foundation, it's important to use 10 so they draw it nice and neat and straight. And that's all we're doing. I'm going to tilt this. I've already tilted this box up. I didn't see any evidence of a swarm cell, so that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to close it up and move on. Okay guys, on this one, this is a colony that the queen was bad. She was failing, so we gave it a cell to requeen it. I'm pretty sure she's laying already, if I remember correctly. I just want to come in here and give it a once over and see what it looks like. Now keep in mind, this is a small colony, but it's early in the season. They'll be fine as long as they don't get robbed out. She's got a decent little pattern going on. I can't see down in there. There's eggs down into ones that's open, but she don't have a lot of bee coverage to cover it. There she is with the yellow dot. So this colony is building up good enough for us. I'm okay with that. If she ends up not cutting out or working out, we'll combine it with something later. She just needs to get a few little rounds of brood off and she'll be good to go. Again, we're going to put dry sugar on this colony just because there's a nectar flow on. I mean, look at the entrance. There's hardly any foraging activity at the entrance. So keeping that feed on them is good, and what extra they can bring in they'll have, but on a cold night they may not be able to get to it because they're going to keep that brood warm. So this on top really helps. Okay guys, on this one, they're not quite ready for another super yet. I don't like to give them more space than they can work. I do want to see if they've started drawing anything out on these other frames in here. It doesn't look like they have. We've got our bait frame in there. Yeah, they have started working on this frame right here and drawing it, so we're going to close it up. Once we get a few more rounds of brood off in this colony, they'll start working off in earnest. We split this one, so which is a good thing because we'd rather take a little less honey than lose our bees in the trees. So. But it's important to keep in mind that you got to stay on top of it. If you're not going to super 4 or 5 high, you've got to be on it because you'll miss your nectar flow if they don't have anywhere to store it. Okay, on this colony, they've started in the super pretty rapidly. They're working it really good. Not as good as some, but they're in here working. And I'll show you what I mean. And this colony went queenless. It's queen right now. But see, they're storing nectar. So this colony, I can go ahead and put another box on top. I'll use this one as my bait frame since I've already got it out. I'll drop this one right in here. Go ahead and set that on there. Now, in a week or two, this colony is going to be full of bees. There's brood in the bottom, and as it hatches, they're going to need space to store that incoming nectar. If they don't, they're going to backfill the brood nest and possibly want to swarm. So it's better to have more space than they need, but it's a balancing act. You don't want to have more than they can take care of, but they need to always feel like they have room to expand and grow. Okay guys, on this one, it's one we made a split off of. The split's up top over a double screen board, but they're out of space already. So I'm just going to check underneath for swarm cells. I said I was. If I can get in there. There we go. Goodness gracious, wow. Well, I said I was. I'm not going to do it today because I don't have time, but it'd be good to check for swarm cells under here. I'm not going to battle that bottom board. If they swarm, they swarm. I got more important things to do. But they shouldn't swarm. We split them pretty heavily, and we're giving them space right now with drone comb. This is drone. It's already drawn out and ready to be used. So that gives her space. Let me go ahead and set that one on top. And what he's doing, he's just setting that on top, making sure it's all lined up. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we like it to be pretty close. Okay guys, we're at our home yard now. More of the same, just giving these colonies a once over, more or less. Seeing what they've got going on, seeing if they need space, make sure they're not ready to take off on us. As you can see, this colony here, it needs more space. So what we're going to do is we're going to give it some foundation to work on. Same as before. I don't drop all my frames out like that. Same as before, we're going to bait it again. I'm a big proponent of using a bait frame to get the bees to start working this other super. Because they don't see foundation as space like they see comb. Why, I don't know. I guess it's, I don't know. I really don't. But they don't see it as they do drone comb. So we're going to take this right here. Always check for your queen before you take the frame away from the box. We're just going to set that one in there, and we're going to put this one down in here. And keep in mind, later on in the season, we're going to go back and we're going to reorganize all this and get all plastic in one box and all wax in another box. But we're trying to do away with wax foundation. I don't like it. Nothing wrong with it. It's just not my preferred foundation. And I've never cross-wired a frame in my life, but it's still aggravating to use, and it takes a lot of time to insert it into the frames, and it's just a big time saver for us, and it's more durable, and I can reuse it, so that's why we don't use it. So this colony's looking good. I'm going to open up here and check, just make sure I don't see any swarm cells, but no issues with this colony. They're on track to make us some honey this year. And keep in mind, we split all of our colonies pretty heavy to make nukes to sell, and it's kind of a balancing act. You're either making bees or you're making honey, but we try to do both, so we try to balance it out as best we can. So if you got any questions on that, leave it in the comments. Okay guys, on this colony, it's one that we split, and we use this colony to make a cell builder a lot. We took a lot of resources from this colony, but as you can see, they're building up again. They're getting stronger. They don't need this dry sugar anymore. They have a sufficient foraging force. I know the queen's good because I've been in this box numerous times this season. She was performing well. So what we're going to do is we're just going to add, and since we don't have, since we have drone comb, we're going to give it to it. If we didn't, you're going to want to keep a check on this, and you may even want to pull some frames out of it and equalize other colonies to kind of keep them from swarming until they can get in this super and start working if you're using undrone frames, because like I said, they don't see it as space, but with drone comb they'll readily go up in there and work, and it helps with your swarm control. But foundation, in my experience, doesn't help at all. So now you can also drop some foundation, pull some resources out of the bottom box and drop foundation into the bottom box and give those extra bees to another weaker colony, and that'll also help too. So that's what we're out here doing today. A little bit of everything. It's not one size fits all, so to speak. Every colony is different. You have to approach every colony different. Every yard's different, and that's the mindset we like to keep. Just because one colony is doing great doesn't mean the other one is, and that's something to keep in mind whenever you're going to start requeening at the end of the summer. Same with this colony. This was one of our cell builders, but now it's time to swap it over and make honey. We're not making any more splits right now. If one goes queenless or whatever, I'll buy a queen from somewhere. I don't have time to continuously raise queens all season. I wish I did, but I don't. So some of our queens do come from outside sources, but we try to keep most of it in-house. But this colony was a cell builder, and it's building up nicely now. We hope to at least get 1 or 2 supers of honey out of it. With a cell builder, you know, she's up top a lot of times, and they're storing nectar into the bottom. So this bottom box, I mean, it's heavy. I mean, so it's real important if you got drone comb to put on top of this one, so they can start rearranging that brood nest and moving the resources out of the bottom into the top. Now keep in mind, they won't really move pollen, but they will move nectar around. So if it's pollen bound, you may want to give it some more frames to give that queen some room to lay. She's also got room to lay up here because we use drone comb, but we're gonna give it a super a foundation now. And the way I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna bait it again just like I always do, and it works really well. Sometimes we'll put a box underneath this box to get them to work it, but they have to be really strong in this box, and this colony's not strong enough to do that with. All I'm gonna do is bait this top up here. Yeah, they have some stores in here, and just entice them a little bit to come up here and work. When they have nothing else to do, they can come in here and they can start drawing wax. Real important to always keep it pushed together like I mentioned before, and what that does is that'll keep the frames consistent, and they won't draw them out, I like to say cattywampus, all messed up. And I'm going to move this one over a little bit more just because they're working in the center here better, and I want them to go ahead and start drawing this piece of foundation out. Keep in mind, the queen could be in this box. We haven't put any excluders on yet. We do run excluders a lot of times. It just depends on if we have time to put them on. And when we get to that point, we'll show you how we do it. It's real simple. And I don't believe that queen excluders, if you use them right, it doesn't impede your honey crop, in my opinion. But you have to use them right. You can't just go out there and throw it on and, you know, expect to get some honey, because sometimes it'll bite you in the rear end if you do that. But if you use it right and you learn how to use them, it's a good tool to have. On this colony here, they're drawing it out really good. They're working. We under supered this colony. That's full of honey right there. I just want to dig in here and kind of see what they got going on. See where they're at on drawing it out and see what I want to do with it. Yeah, they're starting. They're working it really good. That frame next to it's almost completely drawn. They're storing nectar in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put another super right on top of this one and under super again. This colony's full of bees. Now we'll keep an eye on it. If I see that they're not ready to take it yet, we'll take it off. We'll get it to another box. But with the amount of bees in this box and the weight of it, I think they can use that super. And it's getting hot. That little extra room will help create some ventilation too, and give them room to beard when it gets really hot. Or not give them room to beard, but give them room to stay inside instead of hanging out the front of the box. Okay guys, on this colony, more of the same anyway. They look good. They're working this super pretty good. I want to see what's on here. The queen could be in this colony, so I want to be very careful, or be up top. All I'm seeing is nectar on this frame, so this will be a good frame to bait with. I'm just going to take that right there. I'm going to drop this one down. Move them back together. I'm going to put this super on. I'm going to put this bait frame in the center. Plenty of space. The tulip poplar is starting to bloom out. There's a few buds on the tree behind the shop, or blooms starting to open. And when it does, it's going to be a gangbuster around here. So I want them to have plenty of space, and that nectar flow is going to help them draw this foundation out for us. On this box here, you know, they're working this, all these frames, they're complete coverage on it. They're drawing it out. I'm seeing fresh white wax. This was already drone comb, and they're in it working pretty heavily. So I'm going to under super this hive I'm not going to bait it, I'm just going to under super it like this. And what under supering really does, it gives them a dead space that they don't like. And they're more apt to draw this super out quicker because they have to cross over foundation instead of comb. And it's done just like that. Come back in about a week and check, make sure they're working that box. If they're not, take it off. But if they are, leave it, and you'll be on your way to make a good crop of honey. Okay guys, on this super here, they could go a little longer without one, but we're here, we've got the equipment, so we're going to go ahead and put it on there. We're going to bait it just like we've been doing all the other ones. We hope you was able to take something away from this video. There's a lot of different ways to super colonies, but this is our preferred method. The honey flow's just now hitting in earnest for us. They're bringing in a lot of nectar, so it's a good idea to keep your colonies in check. Make sure they're not wanting to swarm on you, and if they are, take swarm control measures and get them supered up to make you a honey crop. If you got any questions, leave them in the comments below. We appreciate you watching. If you liked it, how about hitting that like button? And don't forget to subscribe. We got more beekeeping stuff coming. So thanks for watching, and happy beekeeping.